So, welcome back to SKN Learn. Today we're going to pick up where we left off. Last time we were looking at objective number 6 in section 1, the nature of economics for CSEC economics. CSEC economics, objective number 6. That's what we looked at last time. So now we're going to roll right into the last objective of this section, of section 1, and that is objective number 7. Describe the main factors that affect the decisions made by economic agents. Factors affecting the economic decisions of economic agents. So if you go back to the previous 2 videos, we learned that the main economic agents are the household, the government, and the firm. Those 3 are the main economics agents. So let's just look back at it here quickly to see the 3 main economic agents, and they are right here. So we have the household, the firm, and also the government. So we have them right here: the household, the firm, and the government. So those are the 3 economic agents. So what we're going to look at now is how these economic agents make certain economic decisions. Okay, make certain economic decisions. So let's just jump right into it. So this one is going to be, I think, solely the textbook. This is the textbook that I think most of you all are using, as I stated earlier. So this one is going to be the textbook. We're going to just discuss what is here in the textbook, a very quick, short chapter. Explain what an economic decision is, list the main influences on individuals in making economic decisions, list the main influences on firms in making economic decisions. So that's what we're going to look at. So what are economic decisions? The economy is dynamic. Individuals or households are constantly choosing on what goods and services to spend their income. They are choosing whether to save or spend. They are even considering where to work. Firms are constantly choosing what goods to produce, in what quantities, and what prices to sell those goods. These activities all involve economic decisions where an individual is faced with options and choose one course of action. So again, in the previous video, we looked at why we have choices and why we have choices and why we have to make certain decisions. And we said that the reason why we have to choose is because we have limited resources. We have unlimited wants, but we have limited resources. So as such, we have to choose carefully based on sometimes priority or based on whatever. So same thing with firms. Firms have to choose carefully how to spend their resources, how they use their resources, because you have to choose what is in the benefit of the firm. Remember, the main aim of any business is to make a profit. So you have to choose wisely. You have to make wise economic decisions in order for your firm to maximize its profitability. You don't want to go back to the shareholders and tell them that you made a poor decision and as such the loss X amount of dollars. You don't want that. You want to always be producing and making decisions that are in the best interest of the firm and all its stakeholders or shareholders. Same way with the households. You want to be making economic decisions that are in the best interest of your household. You don't want to choose something that causes your family to be broke and can't afford food, can't afford anything. So you have to choose the best way to allocate or spend or utilize your resources, whether it is food, clothing, shelter, money, whatever your resources are. You have to choose the best ways that you can allocate or take advantage of these resources. Same thing with the company again. They have to choose the best way to utilize their resources that is in the best interest of the firm. I mean, if businesses are not in it for charity, that's normally for NGOs and things like that. Most business spaces are in it for profit, so they want to maximize their profits. So what we're going to look at first is influences on economic decisions, and we're going to look at the household at first. So the household, the good thing about this thing is that all of us are part of a household. All of us are part of it, and we get to see how certain decisions are made. So your parents might decide which bill to pay first, which one is more important, whether it is the food, the rent, the cable, the lights, whichever one. So they're gonna choose based on whatever measuring stick they're gonna use, whether it is priority, whether it is least expensive, more expensive, whatever. They are gonna choose based on what they know is beneficial, or they should know what is beneficial for the household. So households, one of the first factors that influence the household decision is, of course, personal choice. Your personal choice. Personal choice is a desire for a product that is acted upon. Simple put, your personal choice. You like something, you choose it. Alright, that's how you feel about it, so you chose it. So for example, if you go down the road and you see a dress, shoes, pants, whatever, and you like it, that's your personal choice. People might make noise with you. People might say, okay, maybe that's ugly, that's cheap, that's whatever. But that's your personal choice. You don't have anybody to influence you. You choose what you have to do, and you make that decision based on your personal choice. Alright, Mr. Chai might choose to buy a set of pliers, but Mr. Chai might choose to buy matching brooch and scarf. Whatever, choices. So your personal choice is one factor that would influence your economic decision. Something you just like, you want to have, you buy it if you want to. Personal choice. Of course, the second one we're looking at here is the size of income. Generally, growing income allows for purchase of more goods and services, and conversely, declining income means that fewer purchases are possible. A higher income also allows the individual to buy better quality goods and services. So this one is pretty much self-explanatory. If you're broke, you can't afford anything. So if you're broke, you don't have much of an economic decision to make, right? Because you don't have enough money to buy anything, to utilize anything. Going further than that, if you have a small income, then your choices, your economic decisions are limited. Some people who work for minimum wage, they have to juggle that reality. So they have to, pay their rent, they have to pay their children's school fees, they have to buy groceries, all those things they have to do on minimum wage. So of course, if you're working for a little bit of money, your choices are going to be limited. You might end up buying cheaper food, cheaper things, because you just can't afford anything else. So the size of your income totally, for sure, influences your economic decisions. If you don't have it, you cannot buy it. And on the flip side, if you have a lot of money, then your choices are wide, vast. You can choose almost whatever you want. So you might choose to buy a more expensive car, a more expensive pair of shoes, a more expensive watch, a more expensive phone. You might, if you don't have enough money, you want a phone, you might buy a blue. But if you have the money, you might go and buy your iPhone or your Samsung Galaxy, whatever. So those are how your economic choices are influenced. Your income size. And we're going to look at this later on when we're looking at supply and demand and factors that influence your demand for certain things. But that's later on. So again, the second one here is the size of your income, and that can influence your economic decisions, both for the better or for the worse. If you're broke, then you have limited resources, limited options. If you have money, then your options are wider. So that's how we're going to affect your economic decision, because you don't have enough money. You might have to say, okay, I'm not going to pay this bill this month. I'm going to put it on the cable instead of the internet, or something like that. Whereas if you have enough money in your pocket, you pay everything. Whatever left back, you splurge on that. Put some in the bank, you have a lot of options. So your size of your income can influence from your saving ability, your spending ability, all those kind of things. So that's number 2. The third one now is what you call the bandwagon effect. The bandwagon effect. I don't know how many of y'all ever heard about bandwagoners out there, but a lot of people. Let me give you an example. For example, in basketball, nobody was backing for Warriors, but after a while, let's see Warriors start winning, everybody's a Warrior fan. Everybody's a Steph Curry fan all of a sudden, out of the blue. So that's what we call a bandwagoner. Just jump on the Warriors because they're winning. LeBron and them man doing it long time, but Steph Curry just show up and everybody jump on. So that's what a bandwagon is. You just jump on and what's the latest trend, what's the hottest thing, what's the newest thing out there. So same way, your economic decisions can be made based on the bandwagon effect. So you see everybody have an iPhone, you want an iPhone too, you buy an iPhone. You see everybody wearing cut-up jeans, you want to pair cut-up jeans, you buy cut-up jeans too. Because everybody's doing it. You want to be in the do. You don't want to be left out. You have what you call fear of missing out. Alright, FOMO, fear of missing out. You don't want to miss out on the latest thing, so you jump on the bandwagon. So that can influence your economic decisions. You go down to school, just reopen, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people when they're buying their shoes, looking at what their friends might wear, what is popular, what is in now, so they might go and buy whatever is in right now. They might not like it personally, but because it's the in thing, the it thing, the hot thing, then they are going to buy to be a part of the in crowd, the it crowd. So that's what they're talking about when you have the bandwagon effect. Some people might buy an item because everyone else is buying it. This is the case with a fad. Nowadays, many residents in the Caribbean want to own cell phones or iPads. Well, that's back in nobody want iPad now. The phone could do everything. All right. So it is a form of peer pressure where consumers of all ages try to keep up with their purchases of their peers. Yeah, you try to keep up with the Joneses. You might not feel as if you are part of the crowd unless you too own a cell phone or an iPhone. All right, it's iPhone or Samsung or whatever is hot right now. It is called keeping up with the Joneses effect. So that's what the nickname for that, keeping up with the Joneses. You want to be with same thing with everybody. So that can influence your economic decisions. Next one, you have what I call the type of work. Now this one is pretty much self-explanatory. The type of work can influence your economic decisions. Now this can even be tied to your income, because most times the type of work can influence your income. If you have a job that pays minimum wage, of course that influences your income, and if you have a job that pays a lot of money, then that influences your purchasing ability. But further than that, your type of job also influences how you carry yourself, how you dress, the type of car you might want. So if you feel as though you are some hotshot banker, of course you want to go and buy a suit to get to work every day. Although the Caribbean sun is so hot, you still want to go and buy a 3-piece suit just to look a certain way. So your type of work can totally influence how your economic decisions, whether the shoes you wear, the clothes you wear, the car you buy, the neighborhood you want to be living in. All of a sudden you get too big for yourself because you have a fancy job, so you want to live in an upscale neighborhood. So your type of work can influence a lot of things. Both mentally, you think, okay, because of this job, I have to dress this part, drive this car, live in this area. Same way, if your job isn't too prestigious, then that might influence, where you work, what type of clothes you wear, what kind of car you drive, that kind of stuff. Also, of course, your type of work can influence where you live. You might want to live in the suburbs, you might want to live in the rural area because you might be closest to work or something. So the type of work can influence a whole lot of your economic decisions. So let's read what the book has. This could influence the type of clothes the individual wears or the type of car they own. It could also affect the decision about where to live. Some people prefer to live near their workplace, others prefer to live at a distance. Some have no choice in the matter. So your type of work can influence a vast array of your economic choices, from your car, your clothes, where you live, that kind of thing. Level of education is the other one, and of course that again can trickle down into the type of job and also your level of income. But also your level of education can also influence what you have to buy, what you have to own, that kind of thing. So you feel as though you're a high school dropout. Of course, you're a high school dropout, you might not want certain things. Your job wouldn't allow you to get certain things. You personally would not want certain things. You don't aspire for certain things. But based on your level of education, let's say your master's degree, PhD, whatever, you might feel as though at this level, I'm supposed to have certain things. I'm supposed to be buying certain things. I'm supposed to live a certain way. I'm supposed to dress a certain way, go certain places, go to some bougie party or something like that. So your level of education can influence a whole lot of economic decisions. Some people just dress the part. You might not be able to afford it, but because of your level of education, you think that I'm supposed to be sophisticated and all up in certain activities. So that can influence how you spend your money, and what you spend your money, where you live, that kind of thing. So what the book says, this could influence the type of clothes that the individual wears. Level of your education. This can influence the type of items we like to own, such as books or laptops or computers. Of course, if you're a high school dropout, you might not have a library home, you might not have a study, but if you're a PhD, you're a bachelor, master's person, you might have a little study somewhere home with a lot of books, you have your laptop for research, that kind of thing. Students have different needs from those of other individuals. So if you are a college student, of course you have a different wish list, you're going back to college, different things to buy when compared to somebody who is not in school. Your education can also affect your interests. A geography teacher might subscribe to the National Geographic magazine, while a beauty salon owner might buy a Vogue magazine. So you see, your level of education can really influence what you spend, how you carry yourself, what you wear, that kind of thing. Next one, you have rate of interest. Rate of interest, normally looking at savings and those kind of things, the rate of interest in the bank. So let's read first and then discuss. Rate of interest. If the rate of interest offered by a bank on saving account is high, individuals will tend to save more. If the rate of interest is low, the people will save less and spend more. They will even borrow to purchase consumer durables such as cars, computers, and television sets. So let's break this down. Level of interest. Now sometimes you go to you have a bank account, a savings account, and the interest is like 0.2% annually. Sometimes 1%, 2%, 3% annually. The reality is that's not too high. But let a bank tell you, okay, we're giving you 5% annually on your savings. Of course, you run down to saving money, because at the end of the year, you're going to have way more than you started with. It's even better than keeping it home. Now, some of them interest rates are so low that it doesn't even make sense to bank the money. Keep the home under your pillow or something, because the returns are not all that. And something to go to the bank to withdraw your money, you might have to pay bus. You might have to, spend X amount of dollars to withdraw with your ATM card or something. It's best to just keep the cash on hand, because the interest and the costs are just not worth it. But if you have a fixed account, you have a fixed deposit where the interest rate is 10% per annum, 7% per annum, you might really want to go and save more, because at the end of the year, the 2-3 years, whatever, you are going to get a significant return. Just hear what they say here. They will even borrow to purchase consumer durables. If somebody tell you, come for a loan, interest 5%, 2%, 1% payback, of course you run go for the loan fast, because the payback ain't that high. You go for $5,000 to buy a fridge or something, and they tell you the interest is 1%. You paying back mere cents on the dollar. But if somebody tell you, come, take a loan, interest 10%, 15%, you're going to think long and hard before you even try to go and get a loan from that. So that's economic decisions right there. Should I get a loan? No. What would make me want to get a loan? Low interest rate, low return. What would make me want to save more money? A high interest rate on my savings. So those things can affect your economic decisions, the interest rate, whether it is on the savings or on borrowing. So if the borrowing interest rate to pay back is low, you go for loans. If it's high, you keep yourself cool, work with what you got, put up your money, buy whatever you want. If the savings interest rate is high, of course, you go put on all your money. You get paid, put it all on the bank book. At the end of the year, you get a significant chunk of change. But if the interest rates low, then it's not worth it. It's not really worth it to save that money. So those are how some of the economic decisions are made based on the interest rate. And of course, you have one here, climate and weather conditions. Now, for example, you're a farmer. Now, if you know hurricane coming, it doesn't even have to be farming, contractor, whatever. If you know a hurricane coming, are you going to invest your money in planting new crops, building a house? I would think not, because that would mean that it's going to be destroyed shortly because the storm coming. So all our money going to waste. So decisions like investment can be affected by climate and weather conditions. Let's read what they have here. The weather will affect economic decisions of households, as it has direct influence on the comfort and safety. So let's jump on that one time. If you know hurricane coming, of course you're going to spend more money. If you know that your roof in a certain way and a hurricane coming, you might say, okay, I need to repair this roof before hurricane come. So you might spend the money to repair your roof. Or on the flip side, you might say, the roof kind of old and dilapidated. Maybe I should not spend the money now. If hurricane comes, blow it off, then I could repair it fully or something like that. Continuing, hot Caribbean weather means that more and more individuals are purchasing air conditioning units for their homes. There we go. The threat of hurricanes make individuals more cautious about purchasing beachfront properties. In September 2004, Hurricane Ivan did a great deal of damage to Grenada and the Grand Cayman. Some individuals lost their livelihoods. In such situations, people do not have the means or desire to purchase goods and services, but are only concerned with obtaining necessities of life. So, this is pretty much self-explanatory. You can see how this works out. Like they said here, we live in the Caribbean. I ain't gonna build a house on a beachfront. Because you know what's gonna happen. You see that happening in America all the time. Everybody craving beachfront property, beachfront property. Hurricane come, storm come, property gone in, value gone down. Bad investment. The Caribbean, we know better than that. We know hurricane come regularly, annually, so we're not gonna really invest in certain areas in the country, in our islands. That's just a fact. So climate and weather conditions can influence your economic decisions. Now all these are decisions made by the household, one of the agents in the economy, the household. So you have personal choice, size of income, the bandwagon effect. You also have type of work, level of education, rate of interest, climate and weather conditions. All those are factors that influence the household. Now let's look at some factors that influence the economic decisions of the firm. And of course, firm in it for profit. So profit is the main motive of the business. Profit is the main motive of the business. So let's read what the book has here first before we discuss. As do individuals, firms also make economic decisions, such as what to produce and how to produce. Firms are affected by factors internal to the firm and external environment, so stuff inside the firm and outside. Some influences on the firm in making economic decisions are, and the first one we're looking at here is cost of production. Cost of production. Now, what is this all about? Increasing costs can reduce a firm's output unless the prospect of profits are high. In such a case, the firm will produce even if costs are increasing. Now, let's say you're running your own business and you realize, let's say you're running, a hair salon or a bakery. Let's say a bakery. And you realize that the cost of flour going up, the cost of butter going up, the cost of wheat or whatever going up. Now that's going to affect your cost of production, which will in turn affect your price, because there's no way you can price the products the same way that you previously did, because that would eat into your profits. So now as a firm, you have a decision to make. You have a lot of decisions to make. One, should I continue down this road? Should I continue making the bread? Should I continue in the bakery because maybe the cost is just too high? Yes, no, maybe. You don't know. You decide that on your own. Also, should I reduce the size of my bread? Should I sell it for the same price but smaller, using less resources? That's an option. Should I keep the price of my bread for the same size? That's another option. So the firm has many economic decisions to make based on their cost of production. It doesn't make sense that it costs, let's say, $1 to produce a loaf of bread, and you have to sell it for $1.50. A little 50 cents, that's kind of low, but still profit. But then if the costs go up to $1 quart, $1.25 to make a loaf of bread, then you have to decide whether to keep up the price, reduce the size or whatever of the bread. So the cost of production is really vital when it comes around economic decisions. If the cost is too high, then you might not produce whatever good you were producing before. Same way, if the cost goes down, your output might triple, double, whatever, based on your cost of production. In fact, you could even, reduce the price if you want, which would not be wise, because you could get profits by reducing your cost of production but selling for the same price. So the cost of production is a key factor in when firms are making an economic decision. If the cost is too high, they can either choose to stop producing, carry up the cost of the final product, reduce the size of the final product, whatever they might do, but they have decisions to make. Then of course you have the ultimate goal of most businesses to maximize profits. Supernormal profits is the excess of total revenue over total costs. Once there is a potential for profits, firm will invest. In economics, we assume that producers are rational and that they are attracted by profits. So let's unpack this one. So in economics, you have different levels of profits. You have supernormal profits, where profits are so much more than revenue. Now, in this case, of course, you're going to want to produce more. Profits are sky high, you want to produce more. But if profits start eroding, start going down, then you might decide to pull back on your level of production. If you start a business, you alone, all of a sudden somebody comes in, another person comes in, competition, cutting into your profit, you might have some decisions to make, whether you relocate, expand your offerings, whatever. But all of it is based on profit motive. If you're not making any profit, then it doesn't make sense to stay in production. If you're making a loss, it doesn't make sense to stay in production. So this is where profit comes into play as an economic decision. A lot of firms do a lot of crazy stuff for profit. Sometimes you cut corners, you falsify your accounting, you send some money overseas in a tax haven to avoid the income tax and corporate tax, those kind of things. So profit drives a lot of firms to do a lot of crazy stuff. You see it all around. You see right now, if you play games, you see them putting all kind of little microtransaction in your game. So you have to buy a full game plus this. You're playing Fortnite, you have to buy skins, you have to buy this, you have to buy that. So all in the name of profit. People dump their waste in rivers, in oceans, because they want to save some money for profit. People pay their workers, a little bit of money because profit. So you have these are decisions you have to make when it comes around a firm and making their profit. They want to make a lot of money and have people suffer, or they want to make a little bit of profit, but profit still and help other people. So a lot of decisions can be made solely based on profits. Then you have resource base. The resource base is the quality and type of resources available to a firm. The availability of resources which affect the firm's decisions to produce a particular good. If resources are not available, then the firm will not be able to produce. This one is pretty cut and dry. If you are, let's say you're a gold mine, and you have a mine, and you mine off all the resources, then time to go and move. Look on your mine. The mine is mined out, so you have to go and look for somewhere else. If you are a certain business and you are looking for, highly educated people and stuff like that, but you're located in a not too upscale area, then of course you're not going to attract what human resource you want. So you might have to either reduce your level of qualification or move and go somewhere else. Resource base, it could be human resource, it could be capital, money, it could be electricity, it could be fuel. Because if you're running a certain business that requires a constant supply of electricity, you're not going to locate in a place where is current go all the time, where electricity is interrupted all the time. If you are in, let's say, a boat business, water, you're not going to locate in the mountains, because that's not your thing. If you're a hotel, you don't really want to go in the hills because you want sun and sand. So all these economic decisions you have to make based on their resource base. Wherever the resources are that you need, that's where you want to try to locate and things like that. Next one, industrial relations. What is industrial relations? The relationship between the management of a firm and the workers, usually represented by a trade union. It is called industrial relations. So this is just how your boss and the employees get along. This is how your boss and your workers, the employees, get along. Alright, cordial industrial relations will make the firm willing to employ more labor. Poor industrial relations will make the firm more inclined to use capital instead of labor. So what they're saying here is that if your firm have a good relationship with the employees, they might think twice before firing you, replacing you with robots or something like that. So that's where industrial relations come into play. Sometimes unions are so strong that they can stave off firms that want to automate or mechanize, because people can lose their jobs. So if the firm has a good relationship with the workers, then they might think twice based on certain decisions. You might give them a little extra money on the pay, you might give them some extra time off, stuff like that. But if industrial relations are poor, then the firm might want to think twice about hiring people in a certain area, hiring union members and things like that. So industrial relations can affect the economic decisions of a firm as it relates to workers and employees and those kind of things. Next one, change in demand. Change in demand. How does that affect your economic decisions as a firm? This is very simple again. If people don't want something, are you going to produce it? The answer is no. If the demand is not there for a product, why produce it? If the demand is on the decline for a product, why produce more? You produce less. For example, certain things are fads, certain things are trends, so they come and go. So in the clothing industry, if nobody wants to buy, let's say, cutout jeans anymore, or distressed jeans, then why should the suppliers produce it? then they would reduce the production. When certain clothes go out of style, demand for those clothes drop, and as such, the company is going to produce less and less of those clothes and try to aim towards the new thing on the block. So that's why you're talking about changing demand. When things start changing from what it was before, you as a firm, you now have to decide: should I produce more? Should I produce less? Should I move to the new trend, the new fad, whatever? These are the things you have to decide. If people don't like your product anymore, what should I do? Should I rebrand my product? Should I get a new label? Should I, invest more in my marketing campaign? Should I advertise more? Should I sponsor more to get the awareness of my product out there? What should I do when my demand is falling for a product? Should I ramp up marketing? So these are decisions that the firm have to make as it relates to change in demand. So let's read what they have here. For the product, if a firm is faced with a fall in demand for the goods it produces, the firm will make a decision to cut back on production. If there is an increase in demand, then the firm will produce more, provided that it is able to obtain all the factors of production to produce a given good. So again, like I was explaining, if nobody's buying it, you can either stop making it, reduce production, or invest some more money into marketing to see if you can boost that demand for that product further. Let's see what product is under decline right now. So right now cell phones are hot, but demand for cell phones are falling because what? Because they haven't changed that much over the years. So what a company is doing, they're marketing more for sure. Also, they're putting in more features to try to attract more people. All of a sudden, phone move from 1 camera, 2 cameras, 3, 4 cameras on phones now. So these are things they're trying to do to increase sagging demand for cell phones, because cell phones are the same pretty much for the last 5-6 years. They haven't changed that much. So demand for these things are going down. Now you had demand for, let's say, tablets and stuff going down. So what do? They try to merge tablets and laptops now. So you have the convertibles, like the 2-in-1, the Dell 2-in-1s, the Lenovo Yoga and stuff like that that can flip and become a tablet. So these are things the firms have to do as it relates to demand for their product. If it's going down, you might want to revitalize the demand or cut back production. If it's going up, you might want to expand your production into new markets and stuff like that. So that's how demand affects the economic decisions of the firm. Okay, so the last agent in the economy is, of course, the government. So what kind of factors influence the economic decisions of the government? Let's go. The government influences economic decisions in a number of ways. These include laws and grants, taxes, setting up of industrial zones, provision of infrastructure, general laws concerning the employment of disabled people. So let's unpack a few of these. First one, laws and grants. To induce firms to locate in a particular region of the country, you're going to put laws in place and you're going to give them grants. For example, you don't really want companies that are manufacturing things, with smoke and stuff like that in a residential area. So of course you're going to have zoning laws and things like that. You cannot locate your business that is polluting the air in a residential area. So that's how the government can impact economic decisions. Grants, they might say, okay, we're looking for people to invest in this area because they want to develop a certain area. So bring your business, bring your hotel, bring your whatever. So if you invest in this area, we're going to give you some money towards that investment, a grant. Also, if you want them to locate in a sunny area to use, let's say, renewable resources, so locate in an area with a lot of sun or wind, then you will give them grants. A grant is a monetary incentive for you to do something. So if you want them to, let's say, locate in a downtrodden area, you might say, okay, we're going to give you $1 million to help you set up, and then after that, you can get the profits for yourself, because you want this area that has no jobs, that has high unemployment to develop. So you might give them a grant to locate in that area. So that's how laws and grants come into play when you're talking about influencing where the firm can locate. You have taxes. Of course, taxes are the government's main source of revenue, and as such, it can be wielded as a weapon to achieve certain economic objectives. Okay, so taxes on the production and consumption of goods that impose a cost on society, for example, cigarettes, gasoline. Taxes increase the price the consumer has to pay for goods, and so they tend to curb consumption and production of such goods. In Trinidad and Tobago, there are excise duties on cigarettes, alcohol, and gasoline. So that goes to all the countries in the region. There are extra taxes on cigarettes and alcohol because what? Because they want to deter people from smoking and drinking. So they put a higher price on, they put a tax on alcohol and tobacco and those things because they want to reduce the use of it. So it's going to be more expensive. But some people don't care. You want to find whiskey, you drink your whiskey. No matter to you. That's just part of it. But the government can use taxes to influence the economic decisions of firms and of course the households, production and consumption. So it can affect how much of something you consume to what quality and quantity of something you consume. So businesses, you might have to pay a tax if you're polluting the atmosphere, a carbon tax or something like that, so that can cause you to not pollute the place as much. You have cars on the road, you have to pay environmental tax because your car's burning gasoline that's polluting the atmosphere. So some people might say, okay, that's too expensive, man, buy in a car. That's what they want. They want to reduce your ability to your consumption of vehicles and those kind of things. So taxes can be wielded to achieve a lot of different economic decisions and objectives based on what the government is trying to do. The government want to make you not import as much, put on a tariff so that when this stuff comes, it's more expensive, so you buy local. So that's how taxes can influence your decision to either import stuff or buy local, because you put on a tariff on that. A tariff is a tax you pay on imports, and as such, it's more expensive than sometimes the local, but it's up to you, because sometimes the variety overseas is more than local, so you bite the bullet and import still. But taxes can be used to influence economic decisions in a number of ways. Next one, setting up industrial zones to encourage to facilitate the activities of firms. So we looked at that earlier, where governments actually set up what you call industrial sites, industrial parks, so that all the manufacturing occurs in a certain area. You don't really want to spread it across the country because you don't want people suffering from asthma and those kind of things to be affected in residential areas. You don't want, if you have a pig farm or something in a residential area and you have foul odors popping up where people live. So zoning can help to influence where firms go, where firms locate. Provision of infrastructure such as roads, bridges, ports. In Trinidad and Tobago, the opening up of the port at Point Lisas encouraged many firms to locate there. These firms locate there to take advantage of the port facilities for importing raw materials and for easy transportation of finished bulky goods. So that's self-explanatory. The government will provide infrastructure based on what they want you all to do. So if they want to encourage farmers to, farm more, what do? Build some nice roads in the mountain, build some warehouse facilities to store goods, build some chill box or something, some chilling facilities so they can store their products longer, build markets so you can sell the products in the market, those kind of things. So based on what objectives the government want to achieve, then they would provide the infrastructure for said objectives. Like they say, you pave good roads to encourage people to come. You build ports to encourage people to relocate. You have nice, electricity plants, power plants, substations in areas where current don't go as fast, so you can have businesses locate in that industrial area. So infrastructure can help to affect economic decisions by firm and also individuals. General laws, of course, the laws are there to influence decisions. We don't have to go into that. You break the law, you go to jail. For example, you have labor laws. You can't work out people, and don't pay them. You have laws in place for that. If there weren't no laws like that, then the firm would have people working 24/7 if they could. But we have laws to protect us, overtime laws. So you can't pay me the same money if I'm working overtime. You call me in off my off day or the holiday, you have to pay me while I'm worked. So you have various laws. You have safety laws, regulations to help the work environment be more secure. And as such, you're going to affect the firms because all of a sudden the firm have to install smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, fire extinguishers, all those things. They have to provide hard hats for construction sites, all those kind of things. So the laws, whether it is labor laws, safety laws, whatever laws are in place and they help to affect or influence the economic decisions made by firms and individuals and things like that. Alright, so we look at laws already. But laws concerning the employment of disabled persons. So these are laws that prevent people from discriminating against individuals who are disabled. So we don't want anybody who are otherwise challenged to be discriminated against. So you have laws to protect them so that they can actually help to, lead a positive life, so that they can help themselves and stuff like that. Alright, so that's basically it for this part. Government influences on economic decisions. These are how government influenced economic decisions on, for individuals and firms, various ways. Taxes, laws, zonal areas. So yeah, so that's basically it for this section. So that concludes section 1 for the economic syllabus. Section 1 is done, dusted. 3 videos we covered section 1. So this was the last video for that one. So the next thing we're going to be looking at would be, of course, section 2, and that video will be dropping sometime soon. Alright, so all you have to do now is click the notification bell, like, subscribe. Also, feel free to share the links with your fellow classmates so that they can, learn a thing or two about economics or POB or whatever else subject is covered on this page. Alright, so send the link to your friends on Facebook, WhatsApp, Snapchat, whatever. Spread the word so that they can get on board. Alright, so thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next video.